Well, hey, my name is Sandra, and I wanted to start this channel just to do a video diary of my journey with MS and faith, and kind of walking along, believing God, and living your truth, and still dealing with some things. And so I watched a couple of channels and got encouragement through watching other people and learning a lot about this MS disease, which is a real scary and unpredictable disease. And so many people may look at you and they may think, oh, what do you mean you're in pain? You look fine. Or what do you mean you have a headache? Or what do you mean your muscles ache? You look fine and you'll be okay, Or if you're of the Christian world, it's, oh, God's got you. And it kind of discredits the current pain that you're in. And I understand that God's got me. And so I wanted to just do a video and just have a diary of just this journey that I've been on. So let me just kind of catch you up. So I run a company called iFinishStrong. Therefore, I'm always on this track of trying to be my best me, live authentic, do what I feel like I'm called to do, and help people. Sometimes when you're in the vein of help or helper of other people, you oftentimes forget about yourself, or you put your own needs on a shelf. As I start my video diary, I'd like to start with a scripture reminder. I'm biblically based. I love Jesus. So if you don't love Jesus and you're on my channel, you probably won't like it. So, because I'm going to talk about Jesus. So just so you know, you can listen if you want to. All right. So the scripture that I want to start with today is Psalms 107:19-21. And it says, "Then they cried to the Lord in their trouble, and he saved them from their distress. He sent out his word and healed them. He rescued them from the grave. Let them give thanks to the Lord for his unfailing love and his wonderful deeds for mankind." So a part of this journey that I've been on has been this constant realization that God's presence goes with me. And even though there's times when I really don't feel well in my body, I yet persevere and I yet push and do the best that I can do to help the people that I'm called to help. So a little bit about my story. So I've had migraines for quite some time, as long as I can remember, from the time that possibly my first child was born, Brianna. I remember having migraines, and migraines that started out somewhat simplistic. It was just like a dull ache, and after some time, because I had them all the time, I stopped paying close attention to them, and I would kind of push through my day and pop a couple of Advil or Excedrin migraine and just kind of go and do my thing and still work and still do my thing. And that went on for years. That was just kind of the way of life. And if you've had migraines, you know what I'm talking about. You just can't stop living because your head hurts. You kind of do as much as you can until you can't. And then when you can't, you just don't. And so I've learned how to do that. And so throughout the years of having migraines, one particular day, I just kind of went on. This was maybe like the 7th or 8th day of my dull ache pain. And having pain on this left side of my face on my way to work after dropping my kids off at school. I noticed that my eye on this left side had went blind. And at first it started out just a thin bar, and I thought, oh, your contact folded over, let's fix it when you get to work. I still had the dull headache, but it wasn't nothing. I wasn't in distress, or alarmed. I just knew, oh, something's going on with his eye. Let's take a look at it when you get to work. And when I went to work, I went to the restroom to fix this contact and took the contact out and couldn't see in this eye. And progressively throughout the day, the bar got thicker and thicker. And I went through a series of seeing ophthalmologists and OSHU until this eye just kind of went dark for about 6 months. And at 6 months, it opened up. And so I could tell that story in one of my other videos. And so the migraines is kind of what got me into this. And pretty soon, progressively, I had this flare up. No one knew exactly what happened to me. I knew that I was up under some type of attack, right? And so the left side of my face was in constant pain. Left side of my body began to droop, or like I could not walk very well, and I had trouble with managing weakness in my arms. And so after a bunch of tests and things, it was still inconclusive. They knew that I had optical neuritis. They knew that I had chronic migraines, and yet nothing else could be done or could be said for the 6 months of this debilitating situation that I was going through, to the point of even having people have to pick me up and take me to doctor's appointments. I went instantaneously on disability, and it was devastating. My whole life had changed at that point. And so, but God healed me about 6 months in. God healed me, and I recovered all of my sight. I recovered in my body, and I went on with life to do other things. And so March, one of the reasons that takes me to now to want to create a video library is March 2019, I had another episode where this eye kind of went out, and anxiety like never before. Now, I teach people how to breathe and how to work through anxiety and how to deal with, but this was the worst type of nerve stuff that I had ever experienced. And so when I went in to see my doctor, they instantaneously sent me over to a neurologist who did a MRI and spinal tap, and they came up with some lesions that was on my brain and on my spine. And if you've dealt with this before, the thing that kind of threw me off was this electrical shock. Like, my body was shocked every time I would get out of the bed, lift my head forward. It was attached to my spine, and this shock would just go through my body. And I equate this to a story that's probably not for the people out there who love animals. When my kids are really small, they're all in college now, but when they were really small, we brought them some fishes and some frogs. And I didn't know at that time the frogs needed a place to perch or to come out of the water and to go back into the water. But I remember these frogs coming up to the top of the tank, and then they were just shocked, and they would float down to the bottom, and they'd come, and me and my kids were looking and said, what the world's wrong with these frogs? Had no idea that they needed to have a place where they can come out and they could come up to the top of the tank, and then they can breathe. I needed some of the water not to be as tall as the tank. Learned a lot in my years of getting fish and getting animals for my kids and trying to help them be better with keeping and taking care of something outside of themselves. And so I had this shock thing going throughout my whole body, where I'd wake up in the morning and try to get out the bed and have this, my body is just kind of electrocuted type of thing, like sticking your finger in the socket. But that's what alarmed me and what really sent me out, this eye going left, this weakness on this left side. And soon following that diagnosis, this chronic fatigue stuff started setting in. And I can't think of any better way to explain it. No more than 1 minute you feel great. For example, I'd wake up, get ready. As soon as I get out the bed, get ready, do my makeup, I'm on my way to work. By the time I got to the front door, it was like this pillow, this heavy weighted blanket of darkness just kind of sits on me. And to physically look at me, I look fine. I look just like I did going out the door, but mentally, emotionally fatigued and heavy, and not knowing or understanding what's going on. And I needed to go lay down. So by the time I would leave my house, getting ready, and get to my office, which is only about 15 minutes away, I would literally need to lay on my own couch for about half an hour, do some type of a meditation, refocus myself, check out what's going on in my own body, because at that point I didn't have a clue what this stuff was. And so the doctor diagnosed me, and then I delved into some understanding of what's going on in my nervous system, what's going on in my mind and in my brain, and to go on this journey of healing, and healing through faith, and healing through medicine, and using food for the most part as medicine. And so I've done many things, and so I'm curious as to know what other people have tried to do. My husband and I did this keto diet, and that proved to be fine for the weight loss aspect of it, but for the lowering of salts and sugars and stuff like that, and we just didn't pay that close attention to it. We were just out, oh, we're going to lose weight, and that was the wrong motive. Now I know to go toward living and feeling and being healthy versus this whole having this image, I want this summer body type of thing. Well, my body had failed me, and so just trying to be healthy and trying to be able to think clearly was huge. And so I took at that point when I went back in, I started taking about March 2019. I started taking it was a medication. What was that medication called? Tecfidera. Yeah. And so that's the other thing I recognize just in my thinking. I talk to people all day, but my brain stalls. And I can feel it searching for words and fighting with itself because you know exactly what you want to say. Now, how can I get those words to come out of my mouth? And that seems to be the hardest thing to do. And some days it's very scary and nerve-wracking. And so I have post-its all over. I make notes to myself. I make notes in my phone, hence the video diary, so I can keep up with what's going on with my symptoms and what's going on in my life. And so I did that Tecfidera, and in the beginning when I tried it, now I'm very sensitive to medications. Everything I've ever tried throughout history, throughout life, has proved to be a nightmare and a wreck. And so Tecfidera didn't do as, wasn't as bad starting out. I started out half doses because I knew I had sensitivity to medications, and went up to full doses. And maybe about a month or two in to the Tecfidera, I started having some side effects, like some awful pain in my side and some itching. My whole body, just skin itched. And I didn't see it as a side effect at that point, but moving further in, I realized that there were some side effects. And so this coming Friday, today is Wednesday. Today is Wednesday, May the 7th, possibly 6th, maybe. And so Friday, the 8th, I will go in and I will start a Tasabri, the infusions, and to see if that can help slow down the progression of this disease. Some days I do very well. Like today, I feel like today is a good day. I was able to get up, get going. I took a 10-minute walk, and even though I feel, tired, it wasn't like the weight of fatigued that I would normally feel. I started about 30 days ago, maybe about 30 days, this WALS protocol where it's just a healthier way of eating, green food diet, and my stomach really aligns with this. My body says, yay, thank you for going this route. And so I feel better. The last 2 days have been better days that I've seen. The day before that, I spent most of the day in bed and had a difficult time just thinking, remembering, and feeling able. I think that's one thing, feeling able or qualified or equipped to do the thing that I do. And so I take days like that really slowly, and I choose kind of how much I put within those particular days. And so Friday, I'll start this infusion, and I'm praying for the best, preparing for the worst, praying for the best. And so I'm out there and I'm looking at the YouTubers that are telling people their experiences, and I'm learning a lot from just living through or watching someone else's story and what they're going through. And so I wanted to be able to have my own video diary as to what this looks like for me. And so I want to maybe just give 15-minute clips of my life and what's going on and what's happening. Today I feel pretty good in my body. I still have a little bit of the confusion going on, but I'm clear about what I am to do today at work and who I am to speak to and what I am to speak to them about. So I've made little notes for myself. In this left eye, there's still this gloss over, and as I look in this video, I can see the difference in just the eyes. I still have this gloss over. It's not as bad as it has been. I have no headache today, although when I was stressing over whether I should do this video, because I'm a very private person and I don't really care what other people think about my life and how I live it unto God and how I present it to people. And sometimes when you put your stuff on Facebook or on social media and people have negative things to say, and I'm just not interested. But I realized it was helpful for me to go over and to remind myself of the good days and the bad days, so that I could see in those bad days that there were some days that were really good. As my memory continues to come in and come out, that's really scary, because I don't want to end up have a life that's where my mind is demented. And so I'm trying to do everything that I can do to stay on target and on task, prayerfully. And so I look to hear more about how you're doing. If you struggle with this illness or any illness and you tap into this video and you want to align or you want to share, feel free to share. Once again, my scripture for this week, and I'm always going to open with the scripture and end with the scripture, is Psalms 107, 19 through 21. That they cried to the Lord in their trouble. And that's exactly what I've done. And through these seasons of troubles, that I've cried to the Lord, and I've believed him to be the healer, and he is just that, the mighty healer. And so I may not be where I want to be today, but I thank God that I'm not where I used to be yesterday. And through every day, it's a progressive journey, but I walk it hand in hand with the Lord. And so God bless you, and I pray for you as you pray for me. So take care of yourself. Video number 1. This video is now, as Dave Ramsey would say, in the books. So take care.